So here's that Geissele SSAE trigger. I've had it for about 10 years now. So where it's binding at is just this one side on the left there, as you're looking at it. Yes, it has an open back, so open or closed apparently doesn't matter. So on the SSAE, it's only binding up on this side. So I took a Dremel, and it's got the diamond bit because it's hard metal, and I trimmed it down just ever so slightly. So the factory side, 0.294. On the side I trimmed, 0.281. So I barely trimmed it down. You almost can't even see it, but that's all it took, trimming that down to keep it from binding, from the cam binding going back and forth. I'm going to install it, and I'll show you guys how that's working now. All right, so here I've got it installed. Bear with the light, I don't have any professional rigs here. So we've got the selector here. It freely spins both directions. Now, before, with the oversized cam, what was happening is in super selector mode, or super safety mode, the cam lever, with the hammer depressed, would bind on its way back, which was causing malfunctions or the breakage. So shaving off that little bit on only the left side allows this now to move freely back and forth. But there's still one problem with the Geissele trigger, and it's the hammer design that gets in the way with the cam. So I'll show you what happens is, let's see, all right, right there. So on an empty chamber, when you're trying to load a new round or something like that, and it's sitting stagnant in this position, you can see that the cam sits underneath the hammer. So when you try and lock the bolt to the rear, this hammer cannot go down, and it'll stop your bolt about halfway back. You can see, and there's no way to trim that down. I guess you could trim the hammer, but I'm not trying to do any of that. So the only solution I found, just working around it, is when I go to load a new magazine or to load the very first round, I will put it in fire, then it clears this cam lever out of the way for the hammer to depress, and then you can lock your bolt to the rear, then put it in safe, and then you're good to go because the cam is no longer interfering with the travel of the hammer, and then you're good to go. I've also had to trim the top of, or the rear of the upper receiver, because on the back of the cam, it's hard to see. Anyway, on the back of the cam there is getting some wear from a contact point, which has already been discussed in other videos. So I'll show you the upper receiver one. So on the upper receiver, you can see where that wear point is, and I just took the Dremel and I notched it out, and that'll give it the clearance so that it doesn't interfere as it's going back and forth to create that wear point, and that should eliminate it from breaking off, getting smacked against the back of the upper receiver. I'm going to put all this back together, and I'll show you guys the practical application of it working.
Testing with modified Geissele SSAE trigger. You can see the Geissele symbol there. With the Atrius Super selector. .62 grain. I've also done it with 55.